Welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Neeru Tandon from Department of English, VSSD College, Kanpur. We are discussing the paper on English language teaching. Research methodology or research methods. They are very important part of any study for that matter. But as far as English language teaching is concerned, it is all the more important because as a second language, as occupied in India, English has its special place, but the changes are more frequent. Now the question in front of the teachers and the educators is how to teach that this language can be acquired well by the learners. The teachers of English, they keep on researching what should be the methodology for teaching mixed ability class. Like they just keep on just thinking and discussing about what should be the action plan, how the language can be taught in a better way, whether we should use grammar translation method, whether we should take help of the mother tongue or not. So these are the various areas where researches are being conducted regularly. And without doing research, it is not possible to develop the process. So let us understand what is the research in the systematic way. I quote a critic's definition of research, and I find it really apt. Research is a cyclical process of steps that typically begins with identifying the problem or issue of the study. It then consists of reviewing the literature, specifying a purpose for the study, and forming an interpretation of the information. This process culminates in a report disseminated to the audience that is evaluated and used in the educational community. Unquote. Now we have already discussed in the last module what is research. Now discuss what research is not. Let me tell you that research, first of all, is not the information gathering. If you think that you have gathered certain information and you have done your research work, then you are mistaken, my dear. Just the gathering of information cannot be called research. It is just a simple starting point. Gathering information from resources such as books, magazines, is just the data collection. You are not contributing to the new knowledge, and if you are not contributing to new knowledge, then you are not doing research. Research is not either the transportation of the facts. Merely you have gathered some facts and you are rewriting them and conveying it to others. Even that is not research. Merely transporting facts from one resource to another doesn't constitute research. Contribution to new knowledge is essential for a research work. If you are just writing it in a different language or a different way, then also it's not research. Analyzing the data gathered by you, giving it a new insight, solving a problem, having the hypothesis proved, that may be called the research. Now, so let us consider what are the research characteristics. Research originates with a question or problem. It requires clear articulation of a goal. It follows a specific plan or procedure and often divides main problem into sub-problems guided by a specific problem, question or a hypothesis. accepts certain critical assumptions, requires collection and interpretation of data, and it is cyclical in nature. So these are the various characteristics of a good research work. We are particularly concerned with the research in the field of English language teaching. So dissatisfaction with the previous teaching methods may also give birth to a new research. Teachers could not be successful in putting the methods into practice in real classroom situations. Various teachers find various methodologies for their students. ELT practitioners come to realize that what has been theorized in the form of method does not usually reflect the reality in each and every case. ELT researchers are still adhering to the stereotyped mainstream methods and the materials developed long time back in other countries. Whether those methods which were devised in other countries are suitable for our country also, because it depends upon person to person and circumstances to circumstances as well. The several limitations that are attached to methods have given birth to post method. We'll discuss later on what is post method. So post method pedagogy, it does not imply the end of methods, but rather it involves an understanding of the limitations of the concept of method and a desire to overcome those limitations. How to select a research design out of so many? The preferred research design should deal with the purpose and answer the research questions perfectly and properly. They often impact their colleagues, especially those who work under them, to use the same design. Like if I have chosen some method and I have done my research work using that method, so whenever the researcher will come to me, taking me as a guide, as a supervisor, I will suggest, okay, do this only, without even discussing various research designs and research methods that which may be suitable for that particular researcher and his research topic. It also has the advantage that the professor under or with whom you are working can give logical advice on the research because of acquaintance with the design. So that is the benefit. Other may be the disadvantage. So one must consider it in totality. If one wants to publish in a certain journal, he tries to publish a certain type of research using a certain type of design. So when you select the research design, all these things come on your way. Literature review is again a very important point. It is necessary also, because without this you won't know if your problem has been solved properly or not. When performing the review, start searching professional journals. Begin with the most recent articles you can find on that particular topic. Keep track of relevant articles in the bibliography. Bibliography most people avoid and they just take it as the supplement or the part that they are supposed to write. They don't care that whether when you discuss bibliography, then you will find certain good books and try to catch hold of those books. Either they do one thing, that whatever books they have consulted, they just write those books in bibliography. Try to study bibliography before even starting your research work. Don't be discouraged if work on the topic is not in plenty. The internet can be a good source of information. It is also full of pseudoscience and poor research as well. So while consulting internet or asking your Google uncle, as it is terminology being asked, is discussed, so that way you should be very conscious. Conscious effort should be made while taking matter from internet. How reliable it is, whether you can quote it properly or not, the site is reliable or not, the writer has been endorsed or not, the e-journal has validity or not, all these points should be taken care of. Make sure you verify the claims of any documentation that has not been peer reviewed by other professionals in the computing industry. Now you just see the figure, there are two things. Identify the research problem and collect the data. With these two, various four other things are interconnected, that is evaluation of data and writing the report, reviewing the literature, analyzing and interpreting the data, and specifying a research purpose. All these things are in the circular motion and you keep on just taking up one after another. Research proposals are documents that describe the intended research, including problems and subproblems, hypotheses, delimitations, definitions, assumptions, and importance, and then literature review. There are various types of research like comparative research, explorative research, explanatory research, casual research, theory testing research, theory building research, and action research. Action research is the most prevalent kind of research for ELT. It is connected with the active aspect of education. It is learning by doing. Action research can be best understood by this particular phrase, learning by doing. The process by which practitioners attempt to study their problems scientifically in order to guide, correct, and evaluate their decision and action is what a number of people have called action research. This is said by Stephen M. Covey. While Blackwell said that research concerned with school problems carried on by school personnel to improve school practices is action research. Kurt Lewin is generally considered the father of action research. He first coined the term action research in his 1946 paper. Theoretically, action research is usually situated within the qualitative tradition. Yet the review of action research reports reveals the use of both qualitative and quantitative approaches, either separately or combined in one study, by which it may seem to be similar to mixed methods research, said by Creswell. By the mid-1970s, the field was specified with four major streams that are important to understand. One is traditional action research, second is contextual action research, third is radical action research, and the fourth is educational action research. To develop new skills or new approaches and to solve problems with direct applications to the classroom or working setting is known as action research. Practical and directly relevant to an actual situation in the working world, that is known as action research. The subjects are the classroom students, the staff, or others with whom you are working and involved. That is action research. Now, what are the main features of the action research in language teaching? That is a commitment to educational improvement, a special kind of research question and action, I at the center of the research, systematic monitoring to generate valid data, teaching the four skills LSRW, classroom dynamics, grouping arrangements, use of materials and teaching aids, grammar and vocabulary, and assessment policies and techniques. There are two types of action researches, participatory and practical. Participatory action research depends on the critical pedagogy put forward by Paulo Freire as a response to the traditional formal modes of education, where the teacher is at the front and delivers lectures to impart education to passive listeners. In practical action research, practitioners and researchers, they come together to identify the problems, their underlying causes, and possible solutions. There are 7 steps of action research: selecting a topic or area, then clarifying theories, then identifying research questions, collecting data, analyzing data, then reporting the results, and then taking informed actions. There is one word, triangulation, how it is connected with this particular field. Triangulation, or the process of obtaining data from more than one sources, is an important factor in many types of researches, including action research. For our second language writing example, the expert may select to add on the information collected from classroom observations and explore the students' written work with discussions with colleagues, questionnaires or diary entries, nominating the students' perspectives, verbal protocols or think aloud produced by the students while writing, and or the administration of writing tests like timed essays in order to gather more information on the students' strengths and weaknesses. At the time of discussing triangulation, there is a red alert that plagiarism is labeled on triangulation as well. Don't think when you collect the data from various sources and put together, you are not part or you cannot be labeled for doing plagiarism. So just take action research at a glance. Action research is a repeated process. Action research is often motivated by teachers' curiosity and their wish to understand their classroom in a better way. Action research is a lawful rejection of quantitative paradigm. If action research is intended to inform a wide research community, it will need to meet the basic standards for publication and presentation. It is conducted in the complex dynamic context of the classroom. Action research can be difficult, messy, problematic, and in some cases inconclusive. Nevertheless, action research can provide valuable insights both to individual teachers and to the field of second language learning. As I referred earlier also, post method. Method we know, methodology we know. What is this post method? Stern declared that several developments indicate a shift in language pedagogy away from the single method concept as the main approach to language teaching, unquote. One such development was the failure on the part of researchers to find any significant advantage in one method over another. So after so-called death of the method concept in 1991, the post-method term came to be used widely in the discourse of language teaching researchers and practitioners. Kumaravedivellu first interrogated the pursuit for the best method, saying that method concept limited teachers and learners and subsequently prevented them from accomplishing their full capability. Post method is a response to the concept of method and aims to put an end to the search for the best method. Kumaravedivellu asserts again, the post method condition is a sustainable state of affairs that compels us to fundamentally restructure our view of language teaching and teacher education, unquote. Now we have seen that method, methodology and the death of the method known afterwards as post-method, these are the terminologies used by researchers while doing the research work. So there are some more things like particularity, practicality and possibility. Kumaravedivellu is a main name while discussing all these parameters of research. He reckons three doctrines as the component of post-method pedagogy, namely particularity, practicality and possibility. What he meant that every research work should be particular, that it should deal and connect with a particular problem. Then it should be practical, that it can be implemented on students for the development of English language teaching, and it should be possible as well. Particularity, we must be sensitive to a particular group of teachers teaching a particular group of learners, pursuing a particular set of goals within a particular institutional context embedded in a particular socio-cultural milieu. In this sense, context plays a crucial role in post-method pedagogy. Now, practicality. Practicality refers to the connection between theory and practice. It addresses the gap between professional theories of the researchers and personal theories of the practitioners. You can also understand it that approaches, methods and techniques. Techniques are being used by teachers while methods they rely upon and approaches are in general to guide them. In the same way, practicality refers to the connection between theory and practice. How practical they are, that can be implemented in the classroom scenario. And possibility refers to the fact how and to what extent the language we speak or learn affects our surroundings and our personalities as well. There are certain drawbacks of the post method. Post method does not determine final objectives and considers education as a process which is shaped by teachers and learners. But in fact, researchers have a great role in deciding what the teachers will teach and what the learners will learn and how. As Akbari asserts, now that the method is gone, the question is how teachers are going to develop the competence demanded of them in dealing with pedagogical and social responsibilities assigned to them, unquote. So teachers, they will have to tackle their teaching to the rules and standards. This is in sharp contrast with the roles which teachers should have in a post-method condition. Including postmodernism ideas in the educational system might appear a difficult task. Which factors determine the applicability or practicability of a teacher is still an unanswered question. Like that practicality of a teacher should be there. This is one statement. How can a teacher prove that he is for a practical purpose? That is the unanswered question. Post method should be viewed as a kind of departure from fixed and deterministic ideas regarding teaching to a more fluid and flexible position in view of current socio-cultural changes in the world. It is worth noting that post-method pedagogy should move hand in hand with other trends such as postmodernism, globalization, and critical thinking modules. Methods, however the term is defined, are not dead. Teachers seem to be aware of both the usefulness of methods and the need to go beyond them. Yes, grammar translation method, for example, has been just refused by many researchers, but still we find in many classrooms this method is being used. Students, they rather just create an atmosphere that they want something, some teaching which is there in the connection with their mother tongue. So some practical tips for researchers in the field of English language teaching or just otherwise as well. That when you just decide that you are going to research, before moving in the field of research, read for a good period of time. Good reading will give you the quality time and you will just be able to understand that what should be your research area. If you are a teacher of English language, then also try to just find out those areas, those problematic areas, of course, you have come across in your classroom, on the basis of which you can formulate your hypothesis. Then you can go on and try to find various theories related with that problem. Study those theories, consult the theorists, various material that is available in the book form or on internet. Just try to find out which methodology is suitable for you, not only because your guide has done or your friend has done using that methodology, and so that methodology will be applicable on you also. You should not think on these lines. So what you are supposed to do, just try to devise the methodology that can be applicable for your research work and that suits you. The collection of data is again very important step. While collecting data for your research work, take care of the primary data and the secondary data both in their respective places. As far as English language teaching is concerned, primary data can be in the form of questionnaire, it can be in the form of survey done, it can be in the form of certain books or theories propounded by certain theorists. Then you can just apply that particular data in your classroom setting and come out with certain conclusions. Like, for example, you feel that you want to compare grammar translation method and the direct method. What you can do, if you have two classes to teach the same age group, you can teach by using grammar translation method in one class and direct method in another class. Then you can compare the results. Then you can just have the questionnaire for them, taking their views regarding this method of teaching. And then finally you can compare the results also, telling you that which method worked the best for the students, because in this controlled situation, teacher is the same, syllabus is the same, the quality of the student is the same, their age group background is almost the same, only the method is different. So in this way, using different methods will let you know which method worked in the best sense. So that will be the real research, and which can be just conveyed to other researchers, other teachers in the field. Then if you apply it in your classroom, the research findings, and then lead to action research, then also it is quite prevalent and quite favored by researchers in the field of English language teaching. Then finally, prepare the draft. The main problem comes while preparing the draft. Research work has been done, data has been collected, and now put the report in writing. Now how to go about it? There you need help from your supervisor. The data should be presented in a concise form. Language should be very simple, unadorned. Decoration of language is not required. Put the things in simple steps. Write them down for the benefit of the others. Put certain theories and just quote the resources consulted by you in plenty. And then finally come to the conclusion that whether your research hypothesis has been proved favorably or not. That will be your research work, and then send it for publication. Keep researching. Thank you for visiting EPG Pathshala.